Hello students, today we are going to understand about the two processing methods which are used in our daily life, that is fermentation and germination. We are also going to understand what is germination and germination process and acquire knowledge on the benefit of sprouting, its health concerns. We are also going to understand the meaning of fermentation and the uses of fermented foods and health concerns. Sprouting or germination is a process whereby seeds are germinated and eaten either raw or cooked. Seeds of many kinds like grains, beans can be used for the germination process. A variety of health and nutritional benefits can be obtained from sprouting. In the process of sprouting, nutrients like vitamins, minerals and proteins quantity increases substantially with corresponding decrease in calories and carbohydrate content. Eating sprouts is the safest and the best way of getting advantage of both fruits and vegetables without contamination and harmful insecticides. It should be, however, ensured that the seeds and dried beans that we purchase are fresh and packaged as foods. Fermented foods are those foods which have been gone through a process of lacto-fermentation in which the natural bacteria which feed on sugar and starch in the food creating lactic acid, and this process preserves the food and creates beneficial enzymes. The process of fermentation uses natural ingredients to encourage growth of these beneficial microorganisms, or the other term which is used is probiotics. They help to restore the correct balance of bacteria in the gut. Fermented food is like partially digesting it before we eat. So first let us understand what is germination and how the process occurs. This is a process which is used prior to cooking, in which the whole beans are soaked for more than 12 hours. When the beans have absorbed all the water, the excess water is drained and the beans are wrapped in a wet muslin cloth and placed in a basket or covered and allowed to germinate for another 24 hours. In a day or two, the bean will start sprouting. One has to look into the weather conditions, which is very important for the germination process to occur. In summer, germination process is faster when compared to winter. When the beans have sprouted sufficiently, these can be cooked and seasoned as desired. The most commonly used beans are Bengal gram, whole, green gram, beans and peas. Germination basically improves the nutritive value of food pulses. The ascorbic acid, that is the vitamin C content of pulses, increases manifold after 48 hours of germination. Even B complex vitamins like riboflavin, niacin, choline and biotin increases during the germination process. Germination also brings about changes in carbohydrates, and some of the starch is converted into sugars. This process also reduces and eliminates most of the anti-nutritional and toxic factors which are mostly seen in pulses. It is also associated with a good deal of enzymatic activity, which is beneficial for us. Moisture and warmth are two important factors for the germination process. Green gram can be germinated in a shorter time, whereas in summer, germination occurs more faster than winter. Now, what are the benefits of having sprouts in the diet? First is, it improves the nutritive value. It modifies the starch and improves its digestibility. The protein in pulses become more available to the body. then iron absorption is also increased as a result of germination. Above all, the vitamin C content of the pulses is increased drastically. 1 cup of sprouts is almost equal to a vitamin C rich fruit or vegetable. It also decreases the cooking time. The outermost layer of the grain becomes soft, and this makes it easier for the cooking process to occur quickly. Dehusking, which is the removal of husk from the grain, is also easier in sprouted and dried beans. It decreases the mucus inducing property of legumes. Sprouting reduces the gas production. Consumption of pulses usually causes some gas production in the large intestine. When you sprout the pulse, this tendency is reduced. Germination also improves the taste, the texture without much cooking, and green gram, which is a commonly used pulse, can be consumed in this way very easily. And above all, germinated pulses add variety to the diet. There are of course some health concerns related with excessive consumption of sprouts. If the seeds which have been consumed are contaminated by animals in the field or during the post-harvest storage, such risk can be seen. Mishandling of sprouts during production, packing or distribution has not only implicated as a source of sprout contamination, however, bacteria which is already present in the sprouting seed can continue to thrive in these conditions with poor food handling and techniques. For example, lack of proper refrigeration, infected food handlers and unsanitary sprouting facility. Different bacterial infections can occur. Now this is mostly seen in commercially grown sprouts that have been associated with multiple outbreaks of harmful bacteria, including bacteria like Salmonella and toxic forms of E. coli. Such infections may be a result of contaminated seeds or of unhygienic production with high microbial counts. Sprouted seeds can become contaminated even in the fields. Therefore, one has to take care that not to consume foods which have been contaminated with bacteria. The next health concern is the anti-nutritional factors. Some legumes, including sprouts, can contain toxins or anti-nutritional factors which can be reduced by soaking, sprouting and cooking. One should not eat large quantities of raw legumes or sprouts on a regular basis because it can lead to some gastrointestinal conditions also. Phytic acid, which is an anti-nutritional factor, occurs primarily in the seed coats and germ tissues of the plant cells. It forms insoluble or nearly insoluble compounds with many metal ions, including iron, calcium, magnesium and zinc, and thereby they reduce their dietary availability. Sprouted pulses can easily be incorporated in dishes like chapati, salads, upma, etc. It can be also added in chutneys, pulao and paisam. It can also be served as a raita. As sprouting increases both vitamin B and C, and these are easily destroyed by heat, sprouted pulses should not be heated for a long period of time. Of course, it can be steamed for 5 minutes or better still eaten without cooking. How can one reduce risk of foodborne illnesses from eating sprouts? If you belong to a high risk group, it is better to avoid raw sprouts. Buy only sprouts which are kept at refrigerated temperature of 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below. Select crisp sprouts with the buds attached to it. Avoid musty smelling slimy sprouts. And always remember to wash hands with soap and warm water before and after handling any raw foods. One should also rinse sprouts thoroughly with water before use. You can steam the sprouts and consume it. If so, you can digest it, then you can have it raw as it is. Let us now understand what do you mean by fermentation and what are the health concerns of consuming fermented foods in our diet. Fermentation is a term which covers aerobic and anaerobic changes which is brought about by microorganisms and includes the production of alcohol, acids and similar reactions. Foods that have been through a process of lactofermentation, in which natural bacteria feed on the sugar and starch in the food, creating lactic acid. This process preserves the food and creates beneficial enzymes, B vitamins, omega-3 fatty acids and various strains of probiotics. The process of fermentation uses natural ingredients to encourage growth of these beneficial microorganisms or probiotics as they are commonly known. This process also increases the digestibility since the microbial enzymes break down the legume protein and enhance cooking processes. It also increases the palatability and nutritive value, that is both of vitamin B and vitamin C. There are two main organisms concerned in fermentation. One is bacteria, the other is yeast. This is a biochemical process. It occurs in temperature conditions, too low or too high. It terminates fermentation. The food items with large amount of sugar and starch undergo fermentation. Now, what are the advantages of fermentation? It improves the flavor, the texture of the product. The nutrients which are increased are vitamin B and C, as we have previously told. Fermented products are easily digested. It decreases the pH and inhibits the harmful microorganisms. Certain harmful substances like trypsin inhibitors and phytins are decreased during fermentation. It also adds variety to the diet. Some of the commonly used fermented products which is based on cereals are bread, idli, dosa, dokla, etc. So today we have understood the importance of germination and fermentation. So sprouting is a process whereby seeds are germinated and eaten either raw or cooked form. A variety of health and nutritional benefits can be obtained from sprouting, and we have also understood that in the process of sprouting, the vitamins, minerals, the proteins are increased, and also there is a decrease in the calorie and carbohydrate content. Sprouts can form a very important part of your daily diet as they are extremely inexpensive method of obtaining a concentrated source of vitamins, minerals and enzymes. Eating sprouts is the safest and the best way of getting the advantage of both vegetables and fruits without being contaminated with harmful insecticides. It should be ensured that seeds and the dried beans that are used for sprouting are purchased from a store where they are freshly prepared and packaged safely. Seeds that are packaged for planting purposes may also contain certain mercury compounds or other toxic chemicals. That's why care should be taken to take measures to save and derive the greatest benefits. Bacterial contamination is a potential health hazard in seed sprouting. That's why handling of sprouts and refrigeration of sprouts is very important. Today we have also understood about fermented foods that have been gone through a process of lactofermentation in which the natural bacteria feed on the sugar and starch in the food and create lactic acid. This process preserves the food and creates beneficial enzymes like B vitamins, omega-3 fatty acids and also various strains of probiotics. The process of fermentation uses natural ingredients to encourage the growth of beneficial microorganisms which are otherwise called probiotics. These probiotics help to restore the correct balance of bacteria in the gut. Fermented food is like partially digesting it before we eat. So always remember to include sprouts and fermented foods which are easy to digest and also improve the nutritive value of your diet.